Right. And we're live. Hello, Richard.
Colin Dunlap, I have missed you, and I have no idea why. Because I think I miss a good fight.
That's flattering. How's everything? I like that hat. Man, you trimmed up that goatee a little bit.
Yeah, when you start to get old, you start to get gray, and the more gray, the older. So, we're going a little bit more youthful.
Little streamline there. The V-neck fits you, though. I like the V-neck look. You don't often go with a V-neck. I really like it. You should pull that out more.
Trying to change the image,
So what are your thoughts? Lamar Jackson, that's the big talk.
Talk to me about Lamar Jackson, because I do have a lot of quarterback talk.
It's all quarterback talk. That's the only thing going on in the NFL. What if teams just don't want to revamp their offense and give up 2 first-round picks, and they don't think Lamar Jackson fits? I mean, what if that's the case right now?
Well, first of all, you have to evaluate. I think you have to really evaluate Lamar Jackson for what he is and what he isn't. What he is a fabulous running quarterback. He's very mobile. He's great, highly susceptible to injury that way, as he's proven. Plus, I have always questioned his quarterback passing abilities. Obviously, he can throw ball as far as he wants to, but and that's usually why they've lost those games that are important, right? Because they don't have the balance between the pass and a quarterback run. So you have 3 dimensions, passing quarterback, running quarterback, and a running game with running back. So there's 3 dimensions. But that one dimension is usually taken away, which I wouldn't want him. Personally, I wouldn't want him. Would you?
He's got one. No, he not at that price in a capped league where you have to fit all the different players under.
What's his price?
First of all, Deshaun Jackson's $240 million.
Yeah, but you couldn't sell him to 2 for. You just couldn't do it. I wouldn't take him at any number, but that's me. Anyway,
he wants that guaranteed. He's not going to get that. He was offered 150, right, in the past. Didn't get that. He's not going to get it.
No, but he had an opportunity, Colin. He had an opportunity, but he wanted to be the hot shot. He wanted to say, I represent myself. This is what I'm worth, and I'm not signing. And why would you ever, in the NFL, put yourself out without a contract? Injuries happen every week. Why would you put yourself out like that? If he were representing himself as an agent, I'd fire him.
I agree with you. His family represents him. It's a ludicrous situation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I wouldn't represent myself paying my own light bill, let alone getting a contract worth millions and millions of dollars. That's number one. Number two, he's won one playoff game. The other thing too, the last 2 seasons he's not finished, so he has been susceptible to injury. I don't understand why people look. Deshaun Watson reset the market. People understand that, and owners are trying to get away from that. That being said, that's a totally different situation than perhaps football people in organizations that need a quarterback right now, such as Atlanta or Carolina or somewhere like that. Maybe the football people went to the owner and said, we just can't revamp everything we do and expend that amount in percentage of our payroll toward a quarterback because it doesn't make sense.
What's the cap?
Well, it's going to go back up, but he would eat up a good 25% of the cap.
But what is it right now?
Well, it's constantly evolving because the TV deal has to come in, and I don't know the precise number right now, but he would eat up a quarter of it, if not more.
Right. This is just kind of a random digression here, but
right.
I was watching, and not related to football, which is crazy.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I'm crazy, but I was watching the Formula One on Netflix. I did not realize they also have a cap.
Yes, 224 million will be the cap this year.
I thought it was 145.
224.
You sure?
Yep, for the 2023 season.
I thought 2023 was 145. But in any event, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. So we play the cap game all the time. That's what Omar is so good at, right?
Right.
Now, so here's my question to you, and I'm actually going to ask Omar this question, and I'm going to tell him that we're going to talk about it. So if you had your choice You have 32 quarterbacks minus Kenny Pickett. He's not in this poll. 32 quarterbacks. If you could take any one you want, top 2, who do you take?
Patrick Mahomes, no question. That's number 1. He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Okay.
And probably, I know the past couple seasons haven't ended all that well, but probably Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Oh, I like Josh Allen, but I really like the young man in Los Angeles. I really like him a lot.
Yeah, Herbert.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's very good. He needs to be coached better. He's very good.
Yeah, I think so too. So then we go back to that, what you're saying, the coaching. And then I go back and I look at seeing headlines, and this makes me crazy. This makes me as crazy as this whole Lamar Jackson conversation.
Can I tell you, there may be a different one, though, that's my number 2?
Oh, yeah.
That it may be Trevor Lawrence.
Well, now, you see, that's an interesting pick because I said initially I thought he was going to be a bust. And I think he's proving me wrong. And that's an interesting pick from you. Actually, that's a little aggressive of a pick for you.
I mean, all people are better with better people around them.
Yeah.
I think that he would, as they continue to build, he's going to be a superstar.
You know, and there's an axiom that says that the student didn't learn, a teacher didn't teach, right? And so a lot of that can be prevalent here in that conversation and in life, really. But so student didn't learn, teacher didn't teach. I like Trevor Lawrence today much more than I liked him 2 years ago. And, and that's the reason. I think you're exactly right. But then I go and I make myself crazy when I see Aaron Rodgers conversations, right? It makes me nuts. I see you're oozing that.
I got no time for him anymore.
Yeah, me either. You look at him as the Messiah, the second coming in New York, because then I compare that to who do you think? Russell Wilson.
Right.
And I got nothing for Russell Wilson either. I just don't have it. I don't understand in Denver. Great ownership, great leadership. What they were thinking for Russell Wilson. What do you think of that?
Well, I kind of know, and I've been doing a lot of reading on Russell Wilson the past couple of days. Sean Payton would not have taken that job unless an agreement was in place. And from what I read, Sean Payton said, this is a 1-year test run, and I don't care how much cap space we're going to eat. If I don't like what I see in 1 year or maybe even 10 games, I'm done with them. Because Sean Payton isn't there to screw around. And he didn't need to take that job. You know, he just wanted to coach again, and they needed a good coach.
He had a great job.
Right. So that being said, look for that to happen. I think Russell Wilson will play 10 or 12 more games and then be done as a quarterback in the NFL. And with Rodgers, I don't have any time for Rodgers. And I'll tell you, maybe some of it's personal. Like, if you want to go off on a retreat and why do you have to tell people that? What he's the person that wants everybody to look at him and then say, well, why is everyone looking at me? Well, it's because you told everybody to.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of complex that I don't understand. And I never will.
And I don't even know if it's a complex. And complexes come from insecurities. And maybe that is an insecurity of his because it comes across as arrogance to me. And arrogance sometimes is overstated confidence. And overstated confidence is usually false. But his stats support a good quarterback. They don't support a great quarterback to me. But I don't understand why New York, they're really only postponing the pain. Why would you do that? What's he have? Another year? Maybe 2, right? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you? I don't understand the need to win today. And the Pittsburgh Steelers never had that philosophy. They built, and they built from the bottom up. They built from the offensive and defensive lines. They built the house, and they built it the right way with a strong foundation. Now, are they going to continue that? I hope so. Omar Khan, as you know, is a personal friend of mine, and I think and Kevin Colbert was, and I think you have some really, really great talent in the organization. I hope they continue that, and it looks like they're going to. So, but that's the, when I come back to Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, they're anomalies to me. I don't get it.
Well, people, here's the crazy part. People keep talking about collusion in terms of trying to not get Lamar Jackson a contract because of what happened with the Deshaun Watson contract. The real collusion in the NFL is, for money's sake and for visibility's sake, it feels like all the owners, the real collusion here, all the owners are afraid to tell Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers their careers are over. That's the real collusion in the NFL, that they just keep milking those cows for the money and eyeballs on them, whenever the real truth is those two guys need to step aside, and you need to let people who are younger and better talents into their jobs.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Well, that's how I feel too. And I just, and I knew, it's funny because I went to the airport. I saw when Denver played us. When did they play us this year?
A little later on in the year. It was, I don't know, maybe November.
And I went to the airport, and Russell Wilson was injured at the time for that game, right? And I went to the airport and at Atlantic Aviation, and I saw this really cool plane. And then I saw number 3 on the tail, and I knew it was Russell Wilson's plane. So he has a big plane.
Oh, so, yeah.
But anyway, that's just a little anecdote. But I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Russell. I'm not a fan of Aaron, I think. And you talk about Ben Roethlisberger all you want. I mean, he was solid. He was solid. He answered the bell all the time. He answered the bell. He won. And the people that were the detractors to Ben Roethlisberger, and granted, I was one at the end. I didn't cast aspersions on his past 16 years, but I was saying, okay, it might be time, right? And so I thought Ben played at least a year too long. So that's what
I agree with you, but I don't think he was ever going to seek employment with another organization.
Never. I don't believe that either, ever. And so that to me separates, and that's where I was going with this. That separates Ben Roethlisberger as a value to the organization. That is a franchise quarterback, right?
I'm in total agreement with you. No matter how much he may have, hinted at things or kind of sulked some, and I don't think he ever would have ever ruined his legacy by going and doing something for 1 year somewhere else.
That's 100%.
Ever.
And that comes from character, right? And remember, what's integrity? It's determined by the character is determined by the integrity of your choices, right? And not that they don't have integrity, but integrity is your choices.
Another thing about Lamar Jackson too, Richard, is Baltimore. He's going to end up getting a long-term deal out of Baltimore. It probably won't be for the money that he wants, but I think so many forget that Baltimore might be a little bit hesitant to give him the long deal, because they made a mistake with Flacco by giving Flacco $120 million.
Yeah.
And
that was the year after he won the Super Bowl, though.
Correct.
So he had a little bit more motivation to reward that and to believe there could be a future with him, right? I actually liked Joe Flacco. He used to torch us every time we played him. But I actually liked him, but they had incentive, right? They saw something. This guy's only won one playoff game, as you pointed out. Lamar Jackson, and to me, the very biggest issue to me, he didn't finish the season last 2 years.
Right.
That's it. That's the whole deal. I am not going to invest $150 million in somebody who for 2 years hasn't finished the season. Why would I do that?
I mean, the games that you need to win of consequence are played after Thanksgiving.
100%.
And if you're not playing in them, you can't win them. It's so simple to me that I don't even know why this is an issue, let alone the biggest story in our sports country right now.
Yeah. Is it bigger than Aaron Rodgers?
Probably. It probably is.
Woody Johnson, to me, is like, I think, New York has been so starved for success at any level. Their choices have been horrible. Zach Wilson, I mean, come on. When I knew Zach Wilson was going to fizzle out? When he was arrogantly cocky about having an affair with his mother's best friend.
Right. I mean, you go back to
that said to me, this guy, I can dismiss him.
You go back to Chad Pennington. You go back to all these just different choices that ownership group has made. Whenever they refuse to contractually enter into agreement with Darrelle Revis, and they were messing around with that. It's just they can't get out of their own way.
Right, but you see though, the rest of the structure isn't built, so they're so dependent on that quarterback and finding that ubiquitous franchise quarterback, as we call it, and it's not. You know, if you build the rest of it, when Ben Roethlisberger was inserted into that lineup, he had a structure, he had a system. Kenny Wisenhunt was his offensive coordinator. Bill Cowher and Dick LeBeau was the defensive coordinator. You had Jerome Bettis. You had a structure. You know, they would tell Ben, just don't lose the game. That was the philosophy. Don't lose it, right? We'll make sure everything around you is solid. You just get in, be the quarterback. Right?
Right. And another thing that is a gigantic oversight, I think, by a lot of people that are thinking about Rodgers to the Jets is this. He would be going from the NFL's smallest media market. I mean, Green Bay is like Erie to the biggest media market. And they are going to cut him. They're going to cut him no breaks in New York. The first time he throws 3 interceptions, they are going to chop him up.
Yeah. And you know, here's the thing. He's going to go to the biggest media market out of the 32 NFL teams, the largest. Why do you think he wants to go there? That's why he wants to go there.
But if it goes bad, he's not counting. He's discounting the fact that it could go bad. That's the part too. You know, they are waiting for his missteps.
Again, I wouldn't. The risk value equation there to me doesn't balance out. So.
Should the Steelers draft a tackle, by the way?
Hell yes.
I mean, I don't even know why we agree on too much. I don't even know why it's a discussion to think about any other position.
We need conflict.
Would you draft Joey Porter if he was there?
Oh, you know, so here's that. So I just mentioned Kenny Wisenhunt, right? You know, he's an assistant at Penn State. Kenny Wisenhunt told me last year, this kid is the real deal. And when Kenny says that to me, yes, I would absolutely 100% draft him that way. I mean, he's a thoroughbred. It's in his blood. Winning is in his blood. He's got the temperament, which is a little fiery. But when Ken Wisenhunt said to me, Joey Porter is the real deal, Richard. That was a year ago. Yes, I would. Would you?
It depends on what tackle was there.
Oh, could we be in first conflict?
Yes, maybe. But here's the thing that I think people need to get over and get past.
Oh, wait, and I apologize for interrupting you. Was your question, would I draft him in front of a tackle?
Yeah, if he was the best available player, I'd take him.
Well, and that's how Chuck Noll built his team.
Right.
He always drafted regardless of need, right? That takes discipline. Regardless of need, to draft the best available player that can help your team. That's what Chuck Noll.
The thing with Porter is, and it's almost unfair to him, if it's a very big position of need, he's a very good player. If he were available there, it almost is a disservice that his name is Joey Porter Jr. because some people will associate that with doing a favor or being a legacy or whatever, when it's a position of need and he's a very good player, point blank, period, that's it.
What would you draft him as? Would you draft him as a corner?
Oh, yeah, he's a corner. He's a decade, if not more, long.
We haven't had a shutdown corner for a long time. But couldn't you also throw him over to Minka's position at some point?
No, I think he'd stay at a corner. He's like Ike Taylor. He's that kind of player.
Well, you can't talk to me about Ike Taylor. I wasn't fond of him either.
Maybe even better, right away. I think Ike Taylor's a pretty good player. Yeah. But I think that Joey Porter Jr. will probably be better. He gets people on the ground. He's able to play the ball some, and he covers people, so they don't really throw his way. But I would take him if he was there.
Ike Taylor has cement hands. He couldn't catch a ball.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I think he was a very good cover guy.
I don't know.
Anyway, so
I beg to differ, but I guess we're done. We don't have anything to fight about.
No, one thing to fight about. There is one.
Go ahead.
If Tom Brady was offered an ownership stake in the Miami Dolphins, do you think he'd come out of retirement?
There isn't a Tom Brady conversation that you can have with me that will end on a positive note. I think he destroyed – you talk about his legacy.
Yeah.
I think he destroyed his legacy. I really do. And there isn't a good part of Tom Brady that I can have a positive conversation about.
By going to Tampa and his marriage and everything else?
No, everything. It's his whole demeanor, the way he's handled his life, the way he's handled his personal life, the way he's handled his life. You know, we know, first of all, we know he's full of shit because, you know, it wasn't about playing football one more year, clearly, which is why his marriage ended, they said, because 6 months later, he retired anyway. And, you know, he had the job, the broadcast job that's offered. And I'm not even sure, is it still offered? Is the job still offered?
I believe it is, but the bad part is that Greg Olson's probably better.
I think he's so much better.
I agree.
I wouldn't give up on him. And, you know, I didn't like Greg at first because I looked at him and I thought, oh, you know, pretty boy, you know, I don't like him. Man, I just heard his first game. He was wonderful, and he continues to be wonderful. I would not. Why would you give that up at $70 million to pay $140 when the job can get done better at 70? Right?
Yep.
I'm not chasing the star. I'm sorry. I'm not chasing the star. Let that be somebody else. You can have him. I'm here. Build the house one at a time.
Greg, I am totally with you. Tom Brady, for me, over the past 18, 24 months or so, has taken a huge nosedive. Not that I ever held him in great acclaim, but he just refuses to move on with his life.
Yeah, you know, I did hold him in great acclaim. But I think it was not just him that I held in great acclaim. I think the marriage of him and Belichick created that one player, that two of them created one. And I think that's what made me really like him a lot. So, yeah, no, I'm out on Tom Brady from top to bottom. And the other thing that really put me out on Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah?
Really put me out.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
Giselle?
Nope. When he tossed the Super Bowl trophy.
Oh, on the boat?
Yep. When he tossed that was so disrespectful. I think that it was horrible. And that's really what lost me. You know,
he was stinking drunk. Yeah, I don't understand why you got to get like that. Yeah.
Well, I don't care about that because there's people that, I mean, that happens. He's human. Excuse me, he's human. But the way that he disparaged that great symbol that he's worked for so long, and I didn't like it. So
no, anyway. Fair enough. The V-neck works for you, Richard. Stick with it.
Thanks. Off topic.
Yes.
Did you watch Chris Rock?
I saw the parts that were repropagated on the internet, and I'm still all right. Yeah, I watched like the 5-minute clip. Here's the part I don't understand. If you get slapped in the face by another man on national television, even if you think you're right about the situation, don't you just let it die? Like, Chris Rock thinks he's right, okay?
I think he's right also. But I don't understand. I don't know a man. If I came up to you and you said something I didn't like, and I came up to you and slapped you, it's just
it wouldn't end right there.
It wouldn't end right there. What would happen?
Well, you wouldn't slap me. I would hope not, because you're my friend.
No. This is just hypothetical. What would happen?
I might lose a fight, but you would get hit hard at least one time.
100% on the spot. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's an automatic response.
Yes.
Automatic. I don't care if you're 4 feet.
I might lose. I might lose, but I would find out. I would find out what you were all about.
Oh, this is great. But what you lose by not responding is your integrity. I couldn't imagine somebody slapping me and not responding immediately.
I mean, on that Oscar stage, I may have lost, but I would have found out what Will Smith was all about. I would not have just taken a smack, and not even a punch, A slap, which is even more emasculating.
It's so emasculating. Great word. So emasculating. Anyway, that's what I wanted to know. But I thought the Chris Rock special, I thought he was funny in some areas, but some in here I didn't understand the Elon Musk thing at all.
Yeah, I just saw the parts about the slap.
We'll watch it and let's talk next week. We'll tear him apart too. Who wants to fight? Let's go.
All right, Richard. See you soon.
So this is why I said this. It was going to be the Chris Rock ending. Drop the mic.
Oh.
Bam.